Yes.
Yeah. So, hello. Am I audible, right? Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, you are audible.
So today we are going to start that use reducer hooks. So yesterday our session was ended only use state and use effect hooks. Okay. So use state hooks, we understood that we have to, when we manage the state in the functional component. So React has provided some hooks for that. Specifically it is use state hook, and then use reducer hook, that is similar to the use state hooks, but when you manage multiple sub values in your state, then it depends that one value is dependent to other values, the previous value. That time we need to use the use reducer hooks. So it's a kind of state management, and when you do the Redux part, right? Redux also in the state management part is coming. So same thing, the instead of Redux, we can use same kind of things with the use reducer hooks. So these use reducer hooks also taking some dispatch function, this kind of things. I will explain this thing. First, I have to going to make one small demo on that use reducer hooks. And my screen is visible. Please, anyone confirm these things. That will be.
Yes.
So again, what I will do. I will return. First, I will take one call. And take. So we have to import that use reducer hooks, and what I will pass that number, our number, number plus value. You can see that number is by default, that is zero. And when I click, so it will increase, right? So same thing, we can use that use state hooks, but here in the use reducer hooks, you can see that use reducer is usually preferable to use state when you have complex state logics, and that involves multiple subs values, right? So this is one kind of example of use reducer hooks. So use state hooks, same thing. I have to pass the value and then increase the number. But instead of that, I can take one use reducer hooks. And when you add these things incrementally, it will add one number. Okay. This is one example. Other example also on. I will do one thing. Will return only if I will take one input checkbox. To type hello, what I will take. I have to put this thing. Check use reducer. Once. Two. Now value I will pass check and on change. What I will do, uh, value, what value is coming. So earlier this example I saw with that use status. Now same thing I will do with the use reducer route. So check not check. So in the use reducer, you can see that one value you have to pass that checked or not, and that boolean value that you have to pass also, and then two arguments you have to pass. The other example, that is dispatch function. So you can see my screen, right? So in that Redux, how Redux will work. In the Redux is the central data store, right? So I have component and I have reducer and action. So when I have to create the actions, so I have to create the actions and action and reducer. I have create 5 actions and same kind of 5 reducer I have to create. So reducer will update through the central Redux store, and then we can subscribe to the component. So you cannot directly means if any button event or any event has occurred, so this will be called dispatch action, and then action and that will passed. Yes, component and dispatch action is there. We can create the action and it will dispatch to the reducer. When the reducer will update from the central data store, then data will be passed to the component. That is the structure of Redux, basic structure of Redux. Okay, we can add Redux thunk, or when you create the API call, that time Redux thunk will come. That example I will show in the Redux. When I add the Redux, that time I will show. But use reducer, same kind of things. Instead of Redux, we can use same thing in the functional component through that. So one example of dispatch, how to dispatch the actions and how to dispatch through the reducer, that I'm going to demonstrate. I'll simply create one function app I'll create inside the component first. What will happen? I'll just say app. App. I will do this thing. Remove this thing. That action part. Done part. Scale remove. Yes. Return. Return. Okay. So this is there. Now I will create one const and state. And I have to dispatch. Use reducer. I will take the input is reducer. And I will pass one reducer. Simple reducer I will pass. And initial state. You have to pass one state. Initial state object and reducer. And the use reducer. This take two initial. You can see that initial arg. And I have added reducer and initial state. Here, these two things. And return it. So I'll create my reducer first. Or state. And initial state will pass on message. So state we can create one initial state and create one reducer. Reduce equal to is comma action. Create these things. First, this is my initial state. Next state is my symbol reducer. Reducer, what I will do, JavaScript provides some switch function or if else function. So I will take one switch. This is my action. What I will do, action dot type. So I will create one case. Name action 1 and return one message. At any string or name, you can do it. Copy this thing and to create other state. Normally, two case I have added down. Action 2. Oh, so, yes, action 2, and that is my one message, and that is my second message. I will do on default. Default, I will not return anything. Let's empty string. So this is my reducer. I will create. Now I'm coming here in my function. I will do create one message. Message comma set dot message. That message I will add. Now I have one button. Name action 1. Then I will add. Click dispatch. Type what I will pass. This is. So I have to pass the type and then it will come. Okay. If I will do name action 2. In the type I have to pass name action 2. When we click name action 2, I can see that second. I will do one thing. Even pass second. I will create this message. First and second. So message is updated over here, right? Default message console.log console.log my state. So state state dot
Kaushik,
message.
sorry for disturbing.
Yes. Message.
I
Yes.
was asking that since the
Yes.
initial message is set to default, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
That
now.
value is coming, right?
Mhm.
This value is coming because I mistake the spelling, the message spelling. So
Right. That is what I was asking.
this is the message, right? Anything you can take any name. Okay, I will add the Kaushik,
Yeah.
and
So
then
basically,
I will add the Kaushik over here, and also that your this name also be Kaushik.
yeah. So Kaushik, what is happening? I think so. Basically, you are creating a reducer function,
Yes,
and
this
in
is my
passing an
reducer
initial
function.
state to. Yeah.
Yes, and
So
I
basically,
pass that initial state. This reducer has
right.
two arguments. You pass the initial state and the reducer. Okay, and reducer
Uh,
function I will create one switch. Yes, you can
so
also
this
take if else statement also.
Right. So based on whatever you pass from dispatch as a type, it is basing the case statement on that and changing the state according to it, right?
Yes, yes. Type means here I add type na. So this name it's type. You cannot change this thing. So type
Right. It is from
I
the
I I
dispatcher.
have to pass that value name action one. Okay. So name action
Right.
one the case name also be same. If that is omit, so you have to pass the omit here.
Amit
Otherwise,
from the
otherwise it cannot identify which state I have to update, right?
exactly. Right. Thanks.
So this is the thing. I can 1 minute. It's confused. Default name action to second, and also you can check your state in the first. If I will do that dollar first state, what's the initial state, right? It can also be rendered over here. That is your state. This state value, right? I've taken the state. This state dot until their message is not coming. POSIX is coming. Okay. And I think that should be string interpolation kind of thing I have to add. Yeah. You can see the fast default, right? You can also access your state from that action type, this thing. So this is the first and then state.course is the first value is coming. Okay. So this is the use reducer hook. Any questions or otherwise? Next, I will go. A minute, I will create one app and reduce that. Okay, what is the option is oh, application. So copy the thing. Okay. Next thing is that use repo. So what basically use repo? So in that JavaScript or jQuery, we have to when you grab one value, right? Means like inner.html. So you have to write document.getElement.id.inner.html and get the value. So ref function, it will reference that initial that object, target this element and get the value from there. There is also from use ref hook. So this I will create over there. Use reducer instead of use ref hook. Okay. 1 minute. The thing would be removed. And create one const found equal to use ref. Font color, that is also one. Use ref. Then I will create one page and I will create one form. Form I have taken two elements. Input type equal to text. Placeholder, I will take one placeholder. What I will take for text on this. will unwrap this keyword. I will take a row and I will put sound and that will complete. Same thing will do and copy this thing and I paste. What I will do is put the color. Here we go. And raise I will pick color. Here we go. Okay. And I will add one button. So button will create add form on submit. I will create one submit function. On submit to a function I will create. What I will do e dot prevent default, because every time when I submit, the page redirects to the server. So I have to resume that call and do our front end action. So that's why e dot prevent default. E prevent default. And what I will do const function is equal to, now I will get the value. So what I will do sound dot, you can see current, right? Current dot value. Second option I will take const color is equal to, what I will take color dot current dot value. I will take, and I will make one alert. What alert I will do is dollar sound value and like some kind of things. You can text, you can add and color value. Color value. Now refresh it. So change the color and add. You can see the value I'm coming. So this value I will get from the reference, not any dollar dot document element ID, anything I will not add over here, right? Document dot this kind of thing. Get element by ID, I have to inspect the ID. It's hectic stuff. I have to inspect the ID. This hello. I have to add the ID, then no. Then the React has provided some reference. This ref I have to add. You just refer it to your input element, this reference, and then I will get the value. Now one problem is that when I take the value, any value I can take, the value remains here. We have to clear this value, right? After getting the value, but then I have to really clear this value. So into what I will do, sound dot current dot value is equal to this thing. And copy it. Another value. Okay. What I will do, Retrofit. I'll add and just notice. Okay, value something color. Okay, color not color. Sorry, it's my mistake. Color. It will be this color. Color. Yes. Then I will do. Okay. Oh, the value is clear. By default, the value is set. Okay, so you can also remove this value. This is one example of use ref hooks. And same thing, if you will do through the use status, what I will do, I'll create new file, use it app pkp use equal to save, I'll paste it. Subculture.
Kaushik, does
Yes.
only the useref hook works with only the input tag?
No, you can make a div also. If you
Okay,
will
so I
take,
can set a ref to a div and that will get modified.
means take I will try, okay, div and something I have written, okay, this value.
Right.
This is equal to, what I will do, I will create other div for sound. It is also there, right? So
So the both of the references get if we use one reference and use
so
it
that will be
yes.
better. We can do other reference, okay? Other reference we can do, okay?
So if you use the one reference in multiple places, if changing one change the multiple elements.
So yes. So
Ah,
I will do this thing, right? Take the
mhm.
value. Then this value undefined. Cannot understood which value you have to take, right? This thing.
Right.
So I have to create different thing. Equal to use this. Resource I will take, okay? And then DDD is value. I have to add here. Const 1 minute, huh? 1 minute. I just mute 1 minute. Hello. Yes, right. So what I will do, dot current dot value. Okay. Value is undefined.
Maybe because it is text, not so I think
Oh, no, it's value should be there. Oh, I am taking that different thing, na? Sound. That
right.
we have to take this thing.
You have to add that reference.
DD value, sorry, DDD. These value have to take over here, na? Otherwise, how my element can understood is I have to update this thing, na? Today it's coming. I have to check 1 second. No, it's I think some value or something different you have to add. Currently only it's showing undefined this value, DD value. But it's a different thing. Maybe I have to check this thing. Okay, I think, but it should work also. Undefined is coming.
I think
Undefined is
triple DD don't have a value there, so it is undefined.
I just googled it. I
No,
think
no,
inner text is there.
inner text here you can tell, right?
Yeah,
Inner
inner.
HTML, inner HTML in that document means when you get the value from the ID. So the div, but current dot value you are writing from that position.
Uh, I can say sound has a value because we are inputting from the input box.
Yes,
Okay.
input box, this value is coming,
And
right?
color has also value, but DD from where DD will take a value. Triple
So
DD
no,
in it.
use ref has use ref means that when you create the use ref, then use ref dot current dot value. This structure is get all the value. Either it can be input type or color, but inner
How
HTML
we
is
can
not
say
coming.
that DD will hold the value of the color or sound.
Current dot value, no.
Now it is Kaushik. Okay, it is.
No, I just change it.
Yeah.
So it's undefined. That means not getting the value through this value. But
Can you try inner text?
Initial.
what?
Can you try inner text instead of value? Current dot inner text.
Inner
TXT.
inner HTML. Okay, I will do it. Yes, inner text is value, right?
I just
Inner,
googled it.
yes.
Uh,
Value means I think input type text box, then value. Otherwise, the element or span tag, if I will take on span, then inner text or inner HTML also be all right. I will put
yeah.
it inner HTML. That is also work because ultimately it's a inner HTML. No, inner text, not also inner HTML. Okay. Anyway, next example that I will go.
Means from this we can conclude that if it is if value is getting from the text box, then we will use
Means
the
if
current.
that input text or input type thing, then we can also that input text value. Okay, and the current dot value. Otherwise, d what span. That time we have to set it through the text. But but this element dot current is constant, and then accordingly input or div we have to change this element, right?
Right.
Okay. Same thing if I'll do what in I'll remove this function use state. Form. I'll do sound, comma, equal to use state. And I will copy. And then color. Set color. See what. I will by default I have to pass 0, 0, 0, 3 values. Okay, not enough. Then instead of ref, what I will change it. I have to modify this element because now ref is not in that input flow. Value. That value I will pass sound. Something color ref I will do value and color, right? Now I'll remove this thing. Button is there, same thing. I have to change the logic here for update the state inside the function component. So on submit, yes, start. Replace with the sound. Color. Set sound. What it will be. Okay, Amit. Okay. Yes, I have to add the handle. I forgot to add on change handler. What I'll do, yes, we'll add that on change. This handler I have to add, otherwise the value will not be triggered. Set sound. What I will pass e dot target dot hello and input type text color and there I have to add on change is equal to value e. Okay, set color I have to pass e dot target dot value and then I will be able to grab the value from that box. Yes, same thing in the use statement. Then I have to reset the box value. What I will do, set sound and set color. what was color by default? 0. This reset. Instead of use ref, also we can do this way in the use status. Any questions? Or I'll do next one. PAP purchase. Let's see. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll create one custom hook. This hook I will create by custom hooks. I will create in the React. Also provided the oh sorry. I'll create one file that is use input .js. This is my customer. I will create one import and from the export function and I'll pass the initial value. Initial value from set value equal to the use state. I will take use state and I have to pass the initial value. This is my argument I have to pass over there. And then I will do return what I will do value comma on change and key set value. The value what I will do key dot target dot and function also to create. I will create the value and that will be initial value. I will take it. This is my I will create one custom hook. This hook I will use instead of use state or use reducer. I will create this hook. So what I will do, I have to input this thing. input. Export this thing, right? First I have to click export. Yes. So I have to import these things. Which value will take this value? Go input dot use input. So now these hooks I will use. What I will do, same thing, const props, comma, reset title. I have to pass only this thing input and earlier what I will pass use state. So whatever the functionality that I have done inside this use input function, and instead of use state I will call this thing. So this is my custom hook. Const color props, comma, reset equal to use in 000. Now same thing. Okay, and this thing, this thing. I'll create one form. On submit, we'll create submit function. What I'll create one submit function, const submit equal to distance. Now take one input, take box and pass these things, title blocks, and type text placeholder, copy this thing, and color blocks, color, no need to add this value, and button, or add button. Now in the submit function, dot event equal and alert box dot hello. Text you can add it. Normal color props. Not hello. Check use reducer not there. Use select also not there. About this box. So I'll use this line is not required. But we have to record only during yes. Generate a value. Let's go to the use input. Whatever I done in the use state, same thing I will create separate function use input, and then this value I will get from the set value and e dot target dot value means whatever the value I create on submit, this value I've taken in the on change function and this and return this array. Any questions? Reset title and reset color. This value have to pass. Yes, value reset. Any questions or not?
Kaushik, can you go back to the use input function, use input file?
Yes.
So here we're passing as just a value. That is now this function is using it as an internal state. So
Yes.
here using
Here I am use state function.
yeah.
And then I pass the initial value.
So
And
it
then
is
value-
returning the value and on change function,
all
right?
event function, everything I create in separate module and pass as the return function, right? You can see array of function. You can use multiple things. I have initially this function and return this value on change. Means whenever I on change input, here you can see I cannot add any on change event in the input.
Right.
I'm not adding anything. How it works? Because in ES6, this is called the spread operator. I pass all the values and it will remain the state will constant and that value will be remain same with the spread operator and just pass the value over the initial value. Okay. And the initial value will come. So the same thing in the use state function, I use value and set value. But you can use it multiple places. Use input custom.
What is the spread operator? Is it directly means passing the value to the function, or
it is just array destructuring, like that.
Means
so
when you have one object, okay, two object, okay. So first you have taken one object, the value is there. Second object, you have other value is there. But if you concat two values, final element, so first value plus second value. So if you add and if you run the console, it will show object and object. The value will not pass. But if you add the three dot, the spread operator, it will hold the entire value. And the entire value I will pass with the help of spread operator. Here I cannot add
if
anything.
there is a space, it will be ignored. It will consider whole value as a text.
No, whatever the object you have, that entire value you have to pass. And it holds that value in the help of spread operator. You can see I am not adding anything, right?
So what is happening that behind the scenes, the use input function is like pasting the on change property and all the properties in the input function, in the input tag itself. And when we are using the on change property on the input tag, it is on the background triggering the use input custom hook that you already made there, right? So it is changing the state. So when we are clicking on change on the input, it is changing the state on the use input method that you already defined. file, right?
Yes, the benefit is that you can use it multiple places. If you have
Yeah.
multiple components, you just import this thing. You just import this thing and pass this value. But
Yeah, I understand the onChange function, but you
Uh-huh.
are returning an anonymous function also, right? Inside there.
yes,
So what
yes.
is the function?
This function, right?
Yeah.
This is the this function update the state value. Okay, and this
Okay.
function is on change, and in on change function means in
Mhm.
earlier you can see this thing in on change. I have used the on change function, right? Where I have used
Yeah.
input type is. So on
Exactly.
change, I have to pass the on change. If I will not pass, how can we get the value? That's why on change function I have to. Here I am not adding anything on change function. So input type text, what happens? It will grab the value, current value, whatever the value, and
Mhm.
in the on change function, e dot prevent means
Yeah,
event is
it
triggered,
is
right?
it is clear. It is clear. But
Yes.
also you are returning an
And
anonymous.
this value is your update the state. Whatever the value I am getting, na, this value, right? Right, and this value.
Okay.
So then we'll pass the add button. In the add button, it's on submit, right? In the on
Okay.
submit function, it will get the value, current value, right? So मुझे अपडेट भी तो करना है वैल्यू को, मतलब हाउ आई कैन
Right.
इन द अलर्ट में मैं दिखा रहा हूँ, आप इसको कंसोल में दिखाओ या कोई डीप में
समझ
दिखाओ,
गया।
डोंट हैव एनी
तो
प्रॉब्लम।
आप वहां से वो एक एनोनिमस फंक्शन पास कर रहे हो जो
यस,
डायरेक्टली हम यूज जो
ये मेरा इसमें भी है, ये कोई अलग नहीं, इसके अंदर भी है मेरा, दैट इज यू कैन सी दैट ये सबमिट फंक्शन, राइट? तो इन द
राइट
ई डॉट प्रिवेंट डिफॉल्ट मेरा जो ऑन चेंज फंक्शन है, ये सेट साउंड किया, ई डॉट टारगेट वैल्यू किया मैंने, राइट? तो इसके फंक्शन के अंदर मैंने सेट साउंड को रीसेट कर दो, सेम थिंग सेट वैल्यू, आई एम यूज एड द सेट वैल्यू।
So basically we can consider this as a nomenclature when creating custom hooks that
Yes.
we return whatever is needed, but after that we return also the basically anonymous function that sets as internal changes its internal state with some other value, right?
Yes, you can say that these things.
So a list of things. One is the object of the values you are like sending to a particular tag, like input tag needs value and on change. But so we also need as an array. So when we destructure the array, when we create like use input, so the second value is the reset color, right? So
Yes.
that is the function that we can use the reference of to pass some value and it will update it.
Yes.
Right. Got it. Thank you very much.
Next is use context hooks. Okay, this is also important. So use context hooks basically use if I have multiple components. Okay, first means first main component, इसके अंदर child component है, बहुत सारा child component है, main component है मेरे पास, header component है, मतलब multiple component, 100 component. But अगर मैं एक state से props को pass करता हूँ हर एक component में, तो मेरा अगर नेस्टेड कोई कंपोनेंट होता है तो उसके अंदर इफ आई विल पास द वैल्यू, इट टेक्स लॉट्स ऑफ मींस वी हैव टू पास मल्टीपल स्टेट, राइट? it cannot manage, we cannot manage this state. So instead of props dealing, this is called the props dealing concept, means in one I have one deep header component, inside the header component I have 10 child components. So from the header component, so initially what I will do in the app to, I have to pass the props from my state and the props, state props. So instead of these things, I will create use context hooks. So you have to add the value in the provider, and provider will return this thing in enter element. So we no need to create multiple props, multiple element over there. In a single element, we can do this thing. I will show this concept. Number state 30 CKP custom .js. So yes, custom. Now I'll create one thing. I'll create one export. Sorry, I'll use here. I'll create in the index.js. Export on to get context. So what I'll do, create context. Yes, create context is added. Use reducer not required. Now I have to create one object, add a obj. Equal to what I will pass ID 1 type is this is my context. This is my context. This is my object. Okay. Now what I will do, I have to pass this value as a context. Okay. So this context or any man. Okay. I'm gonna add this value. And to pass this value here. Dot. You can see the provider is coming, right? Have to add the provider and pass the value. Which value I have to pass? Any object. A context of provider. What I do? Yes. This one. Now in the app component, I have to input. What I will input? This one. This value. From and then I have to remove these things 1 minute. I have to use that use context to remove this value, import react, comma, context from react. Now here I do it const result with my value. I'll grab this value over here. So use context and pass this value. The react has already been declared. Why is it declared react? Okay, my mistake. I'll go remove and have to get the value. Yeah. Each one. Now console log. Console.log. You can do it result. If you see the console, then to trace it again. Yes, you can see that 3 values are coming, right? The object, whatever I've created, any value, what have. So as a provider, I have to pass the value. Now the value is coming result. Rest of the thing is simple. Take one UL, print these things. You do structuring here. Result dot map x x dot type result is not one minute. Log event mistake. Between dot map x equal to line will do x dot type yes. Yes. Oh, key property. What do I add on key? Pass x dot id. Yeah. This value I have to pass, right? You understood, right? These things. Any questions?
Just can you explain once?
Yes. What?
या मतलब एक बार आप एक्सप्लेन कर सकते हैं मतलब कैसा क्या?
Oh, yes, yes, obviously. Yes, yes. So first I have to create one object, okay? This line I have to write in the next part, otherwise it may confuse you. Cut it and paste it. Yes. So this is my one data array object, right? This data will create, and in the use context, when you use context, so you have to wrap the applications. So this is my, I have to create context. I have to create this context, okay, and also export. Otherwise, we cannot use in the other JavaScript file, other JS file. And then I will create use context dot provider and pass the value. Whatever the value is my array object, okay, as a props. This is my props. I have passed this value as a prop. And now in the app.js, I will import these things, use context, because that I have to export from my index.js file. Okay, so I have to import this thing and also use context. So context, when I use, so create context and use context. Create context means where I am going to create the context, and use context in which file we are using this context. Okay, here you can see that create context, because here I am going to create the context, and create context is when you wrap the applications. So in the index.js file you have to create, because one application you have to wrap, and here you have to pass the value in the entire application, right? So I have to use the create context hooks over there, and in the app.js file I create use context. In the use context I pass this function, that Cosic context, the create context, whatever I have created, and this is my array obj, this value. If you pass the value, this name you have to add over here for the array destructuring, and then you got the value, right? And then you have to for loop, you can write the for loop and display the value.
Okay.
Because you can use this multiple places, use context hooks, because if you have the data, and this data you can pass from one component to other component. It means if I will do two component, then I have to create one app, then prop, from the props I have to pass the value. So instead of that, I have to wrap this thing in my provider, and everywhere this value will be accessible. Okay.
या एज जिसे मेरे को समझ में आया कि आपने जो कौशिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट बनाया आपने ना उसके अंदर ऐप को एज अ चाइल्ड रख दिया, तो आप जो भी आप कॉन्टेक्स्ट में करोगे एज अ प्रॉप, वो ऐप के लिए एज अ मतलब कि वो मतलब कंप्लीट ऐप के लिए एज अ प्रॉप पास हो जाएगा ना, मतलब आप सेम यूज कर सकते हो ऐप में।
Yes. हाँ, तो मैंने जो क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट बनाया, क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट को ही मैं इधर रैप किया, एक्सपोर्ट किया, राइट, यूज कॉन्टेक्स्ट के साथ, ये जो कौशिक कॉन्टेक्स्ट। तो क्योंकि अगर मैं ये एक्सपोर्ट नहीं करूंगा तो मेरा प्रोवाइडर मुझे बनाना पड़ेगा ना, एक कॉन्टेक्स्ट प्रोवाइडर, राइट? So this value dot provider, and then I have to pass the value. When you create the context, then you have to pass the value also, and that value you have to pass this object array obj. Means whatever the data, that's quicker. So it might be quicker. And also here you have to add that Understood?
यस अंडरस्टूड। लाइक जैसे जब हम कोई क्लास का एट्रीब्यूट बनाते हैं तो पूरे क्लास का मेथड के लिए हो जाता है। सेम यहाँ पे जैसे आपने उसको कंटेक्स्ट प्रोवाइडर में के को पास किया, तो आप जितने भी अब चाइल्ड ऐड करेंगे सिबलिंग में, वो सारे में जो सेम के हम
चाइल्ड
use
में
कर
ओनली
सकता
यूज
हूँ
करते
ना,
जाऊंगा,
ऐसा।
not
नहीं,
necessarily
सारे
sibling, right? Those
सारे में मैं यूज करते जाऊंगा, बनाऊंगा एक ही जगह पर ना, क्रिएट
right.
कॉन्टेक्स्ट
So
बना
not
दे।
necessarily in
same.
sibling also. अगर ऐप के अंदर कोई नेस्टिंग है, लेट्स से ऐप के अंदर 5 नेस्टेड कंपोनेंट्स है, तो वो सारे के लिए कॉन्टेक्स्ट अवेलेबल होंगे, राइट? सिंस यू आर रैपिंग द ऐप।
Yes, because entire thing I'm wrapped in that place, right? This place. अगर
It
मैं
can
इसके
skip,
अंदर
so
अलग,
basically the meaning of it is it can skip the passing of props, right? So it can jump to different components. We can take the value jumping from one component to another, right?
yes. So ये मैं मेन एप्लीकेशन को रैप कर दिया ना प्रोवाइडर से, तो मेरा
Right.
एप्लीकेशन इसके अंदर में अलग का एप्लीकेशन बनाता हूँ तो उसके अंदर भी वैल्यू जाएगा। तो ये अगर नहीं करता हूँ तो मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा, उसमें भी प्रॉप पास करना पड़ता है मुझे। तो अगर मेरा 2 एप्लीकेशन है, मैं दोनों में पास कर सकता हूँ, लेकिन 100 कंपोनेंट होगा मेरे पास, तो उसको मैनेज कैसे करूंगा? आई कैन नॉट मैनेज, राइट?
मतलब
तो मैं
सेम अगर
बनाऊंगा एक ही
कोई
जगह
चेंज
पर,
आता है तो हमको कंटेंट टाइम करना पड़ेगा ना। सेम लाइक अगर
तो
कोई
मैं
चेंज आता है
बनाऊंगा
कोई
एक ही जगह
वेरिएबल
पर।
में, तो हमको 100 टाइप करना पड़ेगा। ये
है 100 टाइप करना पड़ेगा। तो आप अगर नॉर्मली जाते हो तो, और उसको मतलब कोई बाग आया बा कुछ प्रॉब्लम आया तो आइडेंटिफाई करना भी प्रॉब्लम होगा ना, मतलब कहाँ से हो रहा है, तो
Yes.
आप हर एक जगह पे प्रॉप्स पास करते जाओगे। तो इसके लिए मैंने क्या किया, एक प्रोवाइडर बना के उसको वैल्यू ही दे दिया उसको। अब तुम ये जहाँ पे रैप हुआ उसके साथ साथ वैल्यू जाएगा। आपको ओनली जहाँ पे यूज करना होगा यूज कॉन्टेक्स्ट करोगे बस, कौन सी ये कॉन्टेक्स्ट इंपोर्ट करोगे, ये वैल्यू मिल जाएगा आपको। ये जो वैल्यू है, अब ये वैल्यू मैंने कॉन्स्ट बनाया एरे ऑब्जेक्ट, यू कैन टेक वन जेसन फाइल आल्सो एंड पास द वैल्यू। इसको वैल्यू मिलने से मतलब है,
इसको क्या
एनी वैल्यू
स्टेट पास कर सकते हैं क्या? इस के की जगह अगर कोई स्टेट होता वो पास कर सकते हैं क्या?
हाँ, कोई स्टेट इंडेक्स डॉट जेएस कोई भी कुछ भी चीज आप पास कर सकते हो इसके
अगर
अंदर।
स्टेट इसके अंदर पास करे लेट्स से, राइट, तो वो स्टेट का वैल्यू लेट्स से किसी और कंपोनेंट में हम एक्सेस कर रहे हैं।
स्टेट तो आपका कंपोनेंट के अंदर ही एक्सेसिबल है, राइट? आपका स्टेट तो बाहर नहीं जाएगा, आपको प्रॉप्स के थ्रू ही पास करना पड़ेगा स्टेट को।
अच्छा, राइट, गॉट इट।
आप स्टेट डायरेक्ट पास नहीं कर सकते, इसीलिए तो प्रॉप्स आया है ना बीच में। मेरे
Right,
हर एक कंपोनेंट का स्टेट होता है, और वो कंपोनेंट का स्टेट, अब मैं एक कंपोनेंट से दूसरे कंपोनेंट को बात करना है मुझे, तो प्रॉप्स लगेगा मुझे बीच में। प्रॉप्स तो इंटरमीडिएट है, बात कर लेगा दोनों कंपोनेंट के बीच में, वैल्यू देगा, वैल्यू ले लेगा, राइट? दिस थिंग एंड प्रोवाइडर, ये कॉन्सेप्ट जो है, अगर मेरा मल्टीपल कंपोनेंट होता है, ये 2 कंपोनेंट में मैं स्टेट कंपोनेंट बनाता हूँ, प्रॉप पास कर देता हूँ मुझे। लेकिन मैं जो एप्लीकेशन में काम करूंगा, मेरा तो ये नहीं जो 2 कंपोनेंट ही होगा मेरे पास, इट माइट बी मल्टीपल, राइट? तो मल्टीपल कंपोनेंट के लिए मैं प्रोवाइड एक रैपर फंक्शन बना के वैल्यू आप जहाँ पे दोगे, ये क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट एक बार ही होगा जहाँ पे आप बनाओगे, लेकिन इसको यूज आप हर एक जगह में कर सकते हो।
ओके, एंड वन मोर क्वेश्चन।
यस,
ये जो अभी आपने रैपर बनाया, जस्ट लाइक कि अगर मान लो हमारा जो मेन कंपोनेंट है, मतलब जो रूट है वो एक टाइम है, ठीक है, बट 5 स्टेप फर्दर जाने के बाद वहां पे हमारा जो मतलब कि एप्लीकेशन वहां पे मतलब 100 टाइम चिल्ड्रन या सिबलिंग्स हो रहे हैं, तो हम वहां भी ऐसा रैपर बना के यूज कर सकते हैं ना, मतलब मल्टीपल टाइम पास करने के
हाँ, वो
जगह
नेस्टेड
पे।
कंपोनेंट में भी आप बना सकते हो इसको। नेस्टेड कंपोनेंट आप जहाँ पे बनाओगे उसमें वैल्यू उठा लेगा वो, इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है।
गॉट इट।
लेकिन हमेशा जो स्ट्रक्चर होना चाहिए क्या, एक जगह पे, मतलब एक ही इसमें मैं ये बनाओ, क्या ये बनाओ, इतना सारा कंपोनेंट भी ऐड कर सकता हूँ, राइट? लेकिन
यस, मेरा
हमेशा जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है ये बोलिए
ना, जस्ट मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जस्ट लाइक यहाँ पे ऐप वन टाइम है, ठीक है, बट ऐप के अंदर अगर हम इसके अंदर जाए तो वहां पे मतलब कि मल्टीपल चिल्ड्रंस हो रहे हैं, मतलब ऐप के अंदर जाके, तो हम ऐप के अंदर भी जाके ना मेन बना सकते हैं ना, सेम लाइक हमको अगर ऐप के थ्रू ना
तो
पास
ऐप
करेगा
नहीं,
तो
आप तो
हमको
इसको दे दिया ना, आप तो अगर आपको इंडेक्स से ही वैल्यू पास करना है तो ये ऐप के अंदर सबको मिलेगा। अगर ऐप जेएस के अंदर मान लो, एक ऐप जेएस के अंदर 2 कंपोनेंट इंपोर्ट हुआ है, राइट? आप ये बोल रहे हो, राइट? इसके अंदर 2 कंपोनेंट इंपोर्ट हुआ है, तो उसमें मैं ये ले जाऊंगा ना, इसको यूज कॉन्टेक्स्ट ले जाऊंगा,
नहीं नहीं
तो
नहीं,
वैल्यू
मेरा
मिल जाएगा
क्वेश्चन ये
मुझको
नहीं
इधर।
था। मेरा क्वेश्चन ये था कि जस्ट लाइक अभी आप ऐप पे हो, ठीक है, आप जस्ट आपने एक नाम बनाया, आप हो, आपने ऐप के अंदर आप दो नेस्टेड, तो एक ऐप के बाद एक इंडेक्स वन है, एक मेथड व्हाट आई कैन से लाइक एट्रीब्यूट वन, एंड उसके अंदर फिर एक है एट्रीब्यूट डॉट एट्रीब्यूट वन, ठीक है, मतलब कि ऐप के अंदर एक कंपोनेंट एंड उसके अंदर एक कंपोनेंट, एंड जो कंपोनेंट के मतलब जो थर्ड वाला कंपोनेंट है वहां पे अराउंड 50 या आप 100 जितने भी आप बोल सको, वहां पे मल्टीपल चिल्ड्रंस है, मतलब हमको ऐप के थ्रू कुछ नहीं पास करना है, लेकिन जो ऐप का
नहीं
ऐप
नहीं
के बाद
नहीं
जो
नहीं नहीं।
फर्स्ट चाइल्ड, तो वहां पे
हम्म।
इसको यूज नहीं कर सकते। मेरा मतलब ना क्वेश्चन था कि हम ऐप के
ऐप
अंदर
के अंदर
बनाएं
फर्स्ट
ताकि
चाइल्ड को,
वो यस, ऐप के अंदर फर्स्ट चाइल्ड के लिए
मतलब
बनाएं, फिर उसके बाद से वो सबके लिए सेम
हाँ,
रहे।
ये चीज आप ऐप के अंदर बनाना चाहते हो तो
यस 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 सेम।
ये क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट।
तो यस ये पॉसिबल है।
तो क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट अगर आप ऐप के अंदर बनाते हो क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट चीज, तो ये रैपर कैसे मिलेगा आपको?
या मेरा यही सेम क्वेश्चन था,
हाँ
क्योंकि हो सकता है कि
हाँ
जो
हाँ
मेरा
हाँ
जो
हाँ,
मेरे को
बना
डेटा
सकते हो,
मिल रहा है
बना
वो
सकते
ऐप
हो।
के अंदर मिल रहा है वो।
यस यस, बना सकते हो। यू कैन क्रिएट दिस थिंग, बिकॉज आप ये एक्सपोर्ट करोगे ना, तो बाहर में मिल जाएगा इसको। यू कैन क्रिएट दिस
ठीक
थिंग।
है, एंड ये जो
तो आप
आपने
एक
ये
बार
एक्सपोर्ट
ये
कांस्टेंट बनाया
एक्सपेरिमेंट
है
करो।
ये हम
हाँ,
यस
बोलिए।
यस मेरा ये क्वेश्चन था कि जस्ट लाइक अगर हम ऐप के अंदर बनाते हैं, तो ये जो आपने ये लाइन नंबर 39 पे जो एक्सप्रेशन आपने लिखा हुआ है, तो इसको हमको हम लोग को मतलब इंडेक्स पे ही बनाना है या फिर हम ऐप जेएस पे भी बना सकते हैं सेम, जो लाइन नंबर 39 का एक्सप्रेशन है।
नहीं, बना सकते हो, क्योंकि डिफॉल्ट फंक्शन एक ही होगा, ये मैं बोला था ना, डिफॉल्ट एक ही फंक्शन है, आप एक्सपोर्ट कुछ भी कर सकते हो। ये
अच्छा
एक्सपोर्ट
ठीक है done, ठीक
डिफॉल्ट एक ही होता है, कॉन्स में आप बहुत सारा एक्सपोर्ट कर सकते हो। ठीक है, आप एक बार
got it।
करो, मुझे मतलब दैट दैट विल बी डन वर्क,
ठीक है,
बिकॉज
मैं
कॉन्टेक्स्ट
एक
को ओनली वैल्यू मिलने
ट्राई
से
करता
मतलब
हूँ।
है।
ठीक है
हाँ,
ओके,
आप स्ट्रक्चर बनाओ, कल दिखाओ मुझको।
ठीक है
हाँ,
ठीक है ठीक है, मैं
कल
बताऊंगा चलो।
सुबह भी दिखा सकते हो ना, तो अब
ओके
जो
ओके
स्ट्रक्चर
ठीक है
बोल रहे हो मुझे देखो, हो जाएगा, नो प्रॉब्लम, बिकॉज आपको जहाँ पे एक ही चीज है, याद रखना है, क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट मुझे बनाने के लिए, यूज कॉन्टेक्स्ट यूज करने के लिए, बस।
ओके।
ओके,
एंड ये क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्ट एंड यूज
ठीक
कॉन्टेक्ट
है।
ये मतलब रिएक्ट के फंक्शन है ना।
है जो रिएक्ट का कोर कोर मॉड्यूल है, देखिए क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट, ये रिएक्ट से लिया है मैंने,
यस ठीक ठीक
अलग से
ओके
इंस्टॉल
गॉट
नहीं
इट।
किया। ये हुक्स है ना, क्रिएट कॉन्टेक्स्ट, यूज रेट, उसके बाद आपका यूज स्टेट, यूज इफेक्ट, एवरीथिंग इज द रिएक्ट हुक। फंक्शनल कंपोनेंट को एक्सटेंसिबल देने के लिए हुक्स बनाए हम लोग, मतलब रिएक्ट ने बनाया। ओके,
ओके थैंक यू।
ठीक है, stop the presentation. And what I'll do, the files I'll share today. Okay.
Thanks, Kaushik.
एंड ये
Thanks.
आप
Thank you.
ओके थैंक्स
Thank you all. Yes, बोलिए।
एवरीवन।
नहीं, कुछ
ये
क्वेश्चन
जस्ट
था
आप
क्या?
कोड अपलोड कर देना, कोड अपलोड कर देना। यस
हाँ, कोड में पूरा मतलब डे 4 क्या डे 5 किसी भी सेक्शन में दे देता, नॉट एन इशू। आप आधे घंटे के बाद चेक कर लेना, ठीक है?
ओके
ओके,
थैंक्स
बाय। थैंक यू, बाय।